Resuming Nerd World Order broadcast. Dynaphones connected. Initiating broadcast signal in
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast. I am the man that you call Dukes, and to my right, here comes the...
Hey, yo, bro, you listen to NWO?
And to my other right, coming in at 187 adamantium-filled pounds, straight out of Krakoa, Alfonso X-Man Flores.
Magneto was right.
Magneto was right, because he told you to tell all your friends to watch the official broadcast of the Nerd World Order community. This is the Nerd World Order broadcast. Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, it's so great to be back. We're going to be discussing a movie that all three of us watched, and all three of us, you'll find out if we loved it or if we hated it. Other thing, rest in peace, Mr. Scott Hall, another member of the NWO, that other NWO. Thank you, Joe, for that intro, giving respect to Mr. Scott Hall.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Definitely rest in peace, man. These are my favorites.
Yeah. Gentlemen, tell me what you did this weekend.
Well, you and I went to the Transformer Con, the TF Con. I guess that's what they called it.
TF Con.
It was like $30, right?
$30 each.
And we walked the floor like in 5 minutes, Alf. Walked the floor in 5 minutes. It was cool. I mean, if you like Transformers, I mean, that's your thing. It was just cool to, to go over there and see it because, we haven't been to a con in forever. So it was nice to see a small con, which was weird because it's a weekend con. Usually small cons are just like one day. But that was probably the first con myself and Alan went to that we didn't buy anything. And we were looking to buy some things.
Normally, we have Alfonso to keep us positive, so Alfonso's going to have to jump in, even though he didn't go to this con. That con was hot garbage, okay? And boo on you, TF Con, for trying to pass that off as a convention that's, like, worth anything. But Joe and I fell asleep in the panels.
Yeah.
Like we took turns staying awake.
Yeah.
It was...
Dude, I fell asleep, right? And then I look up and what's that person called? They're like
the attendant, the moderator.
The moderator. The moderator stared at me and says, "Oh, your mask fell down. You need to put it on." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But I don't know how long I was sleeping before she was like, "Yo, you need to put," because my mask fell down right here, and she's like, "Hey, your mask fell down. You need to cover up your nose." I'm like, "Okay," but I was like, "How long was she staring at me for?"
That's probably the 6th time she told you, sir.
Yeah, I was out.
I could have told him something, but I was probably asleep myself or like zoning out, thinking about possibly a better convention that we could have gone to.
Right.
Completely overpriced convention. Joe, let me ask you this, okay? The infamous convention we went to was the X-Files con. Yeah. Remember? We walked in and we walked in a circle. We walked in a circle. And I was like, sorry, bro, that's it. I felt bad because Joe didn't know anything about X-Files. He was going there to hang out with me. Now, keep in mind, ladies, gentlemen, and knights, this is back in like 1990 something.
Yeah. Okay.
At the X-Files convention. It was a while, and it's been a while since we've been to a convention that was that garbage. I hope you're listening, TF Con, because we ain't sponsored by TF Con, and we never will be. If TF Con came to us and said, we'd like to give you $1 million to sponsor one episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast, X and Joe would kill me, but I would say no.
Next year's is called what? TF Con. And I have it on good authority that the GoBot convention was a lot better.
There were no GoBots there, bro.
Yeah, of
It's-
course
was
he's transformed.
Was that like a thing where like people would people be like, oh, I can't believe you would have GoBots here?
Oh, they would. They'd turn their nose up to it like, oh, we're leaving. There's GoBots here.
I mean, they didn't even have like dope pins, t-shirts, hats, pops. I mean, it was.
Damn.
I swear, like every booth had like a Skyfire, aka the Robotech ship.
Right.
Yeah, for me, I love Skyfire, but these people were asking like $400 for one in the box, $200 for one that wasn't in the box, and I'm like, it's just not worth it. But keep in mind, Joe and I were not like diehard Transformer fans, so that did have a lot. Go ahead, X.
I'm going to go with you saying you are not a diehard Transformers fan because that's Jetfire.
I'm going to disagree, X, and I'm about
What?
to drop some knowledge on you. Okay?
Right.
Comic book. He started out as Skyfire.
Right. Oh.
Right. And then in the cartoon, he's Jetfire. Go back to the comic book.
Right.
And if you look at him in the comic book, his design is slightly different from when he's in the actual in the cartoon.
Oh, I got to check that out.
That's right, man.
1 point
right.
Dukes.
That's right.
1 point Joe.
And not to mention, bro, that was a Robotech. That
Yeah,
was Rick
totally.
Hunter's like spaceship. And I remember I bought the big one. I was like, the reason why I bought it because I wasn't a fan to Skyfire like Alan was, but she was Robotech fan. So I was like, "Whoa, that looks like a Robotech. Let me just get it because it looked like Robotech."
That was the best Robotech toy for a long time.
Yeah, and you could even fold it. You remember how they would call it the B mode because I don't know if I
yeah.
watch Robotech,
Oh.
but you could put the legs here with the arms, and you could make it look like you could change it to B mode. So I thought that was pretty cool.
All the time.
So yeah, that was our disappointing. No, you know what? I'm not going to say that the outing was not disappointing because I got to hang out with Joe, and we haven't hung out in like a really long time. Yeah. That was cool, but we could have just like walked around the Ontario swap meet, and we would have probably found better stuff, and we would have had just as much fun
and cheaper.
Yeah. Shout out to Ontario Swap Meet. It's 50 cents per person, not 30. And this, okay, check this out, gentlemen, because I realized this later. You go to a convention, you spend $30. You get a badge that's made out of plastic with a lanyard, which you put on, and you're like, hey, I got a souvenir. Yeah. You could have took that home. What did they give us, Joe? What did they give us for $30? A wristband.
Like I went to some nightclub and they said, are you over 21? Let me give you a wristband. That's what it was like. We walked by the security guard. He's like, oh, the VIP wristband. It's like, no, bro, it's just a wristband.
You didn't even want the VIP treatment.
And the VIP was an extra $10. You know what it got you in? You got in an hour and a half earlier than everyone else. So you got to walk around an hour and a half earlier, get disappointed, and then leave before everyone else even showed up. That's all you got.
That would have been worth it.
even the costume, like masquerade, wasn't good.
Oh,
yeah, we got up and left.
That's
we did. Yeah, I'm inclined to go to another TF Con just to have a what TF Con T-shirt. Just walk around with it, just to do it.
Dude, Alfie, it was so bad that the moderators were asking questions. You know what I mean?
Sorry, that was funny.
The only action that we got through the whole thing was when the lady got pissed off, and you can't go out that door. You can't go out that door. I was like, I've never heard someone say that before. And then say it was safety. Oh, it's safety. I'm like, wait, what? There's door. What? And then she was out there going like this. Hey, you guys need to be quiet. I'm like, bro, I paid $30. I got a wristband like I went to a nightclub. I can say whatever I want.
Live and learn. No more TF Con for us. Amanda points out she went to Anime Pasadena. They also had wristbands. And her and her daughter, it was her first convention, and no souvenirs. So, hey, you know what? Shout out to Anime Pasadena. Yeah. Shout out to Elvin. Shout out to NerdBot. Shout out to their next convention, Anime Riverside, coming up in a few months. Amanda, here's what I encourage you to do. If you weren't happy with Anime Pasadena, check out Anime Riverside, hosted by NerdBot. It might be a lot better. You may get a souvenir badge instead of a disappointing wristband like me and Joe got at TFCon.
And you might
best part.
And you might meet us.
You might just meet the NWO. Speaking of which, ladies, gentlemen, and knights, if you're in the Orange County in Anaheim on April 3rd, you have a chance to meet your boy Joe, the Ninja, the X-Man, the man you call Dukes, and the one and only L7 cosplayer gamer Wes. We're all going to be at WonderCon this year on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I wonder if Wes is going to dress up.
Ooh.
Yeah. Have you seen Wes's new Red Hood helmet?
It's coming along
Yes, cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wes.
Yeah.
He's doing 3D printing now. He 3D printed it in multiple parts. He painted it up. It looks really good. So we're looking forward to that. Shout out to Wes. Amanda's daughter would like to meet us. I guess she listens to the podcast. So
Nice.
shout out to Amanda's daughter. That would be one Miss Bella. So shout out to Bella. Hope she's listening.
Hi, Bella.
Hey, Bella.
Hey, Bella. Shout out.
So yeah, you'll get to meet us at the WonderCon. We'll be there. That'll be pretty cool.
Not to mention, at least if the cons suck, you could walk away. Hey, at least I got a keychain. That's the laggards, man. At least you can walk away and be like, I got a badge. The badge look cool.
Granted, WonderCon's a little bit more expensive than WTFCon, but
Trademark.
it's yeah, right. I'm gonna get hold of that, but it's fun. I mean, it's smaller than San Diego Comic-Con, but they still have good guests. You get to walk around, have a lot of fun.
You could get everything you could get at San Diego Con at WonderCon.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
it's
just
not-
different celebrities, really.
mm-hmm. And it's easier to get to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tickets don't sell out.
My nerdy weekend. I'm all excited. I've been waiting for him. Like, don't miss out on my nerdy weekend, man, because I had a little bit of nerdy weekend. Two things. First thing, back in I was 16 years old. I started working in a comic book shop, right? And met my buddy Wes, who owned the place, and we've been friends ever since. He recently moved to Ohio, and he's back in town for his son's wedding. So Saturday, I went and picked him up after I got off work. We went and watched The Batman. He hadn't seen it yet, so he was pretty stoked about that. Then we had some chipotle. And we got to hang out. So it was really good, to see an old friend like that. He hadn't seen it in a long time. And, he's responsible for a lot of this stuff. I mean, some of the pop that I have here in my garage is due to him. I mean, either I bought it or it was given to me from his shops. So thanks a lot, Wes. And then Sunday, I'd probably give a shout out to his son, Randy, too. Congratulations on getting married, Randy. It's so weird to see a kid grow up from like this little 3-year-old bullhead haircut kid running around having the best time of his life to all of a sudden walking down the aisle. So we're going to be doing that, I think, next Sunday. I'll be there for that. That's going to be awesome. Oh, sorry. And then Saturday, I had a karate tournament, all right? Since I've been taking it with my kid, we've done 2 of them. And, I've been very successful because, I'm not that bad. But for some reason this time, I didn't do so well. It was pretty pathetic, but I had such a good time. Like, it's hilarious when the refs stop you. They're like, dude, do you stop smiling? I'm like, this is so much fun, So my son did great. And they didn't give away trophies. They didn't give away medals. In this tournament, you got rings. All right. So he got a silver ring in kata and he got a bronze ring in sparring. So good on him. Little 6-year-old man. He's doing it up, Next time I'm going to come away with more rings, more medals, more trophies. Cause that's what I do.
How do the rings look?
They're pretty sweet. None of them, they're all too small for me. They're all too big for him. They're pretty thick, like, kind of like a NFL ring, nice and thick. They're not like super great quality, but I mean, they look pretty good. They've got, a little guy up front like this, Yeah, it's kind of it's a cooler cooler thing to have than a trophy nowadays, especially you start accumulating trophies. You got no room for anything else, right? So I've got this little ring display at Hobby Lobby, and like bloop 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 bloop, looks out pretty good.
Since you bought this ring display, do you know that that's the route they're going to go now moving forward? All rings?
No, certain tournaments have rings. Some have medals. Like right after the Olympics, I went to this tournament and I got a gold medal. I think I got 2 gold medals and I got a bronze and a silver. And then, since I've been doing this again, I did this 25 years ago. Since I've been doing this again, I have not once won a trophy. It's been rings and it's been medals, but trophies are out there. So, some places give away belts. Not to point any fingers, but I guess there was this tournament in Vegas. It's supposed to be, a great big tournament. They gave away these crappy belts. Not quite looking WWF, looking UFCW, or UFCW, UCW. Anyways, they were like rubber, right? Like they were like the belts that you would get for your action figures, not plastic, but like the rubber, not action figures of today, like He-Man. They were bad. They were really bad. I'm glad I didn't go to that one.
Speaking of WWE, AEW, we've secured our tickets. Joe and I are going to be checking out AEW first time in California. Nice. So I'm really excited about that. I basically live next door. Like the Young Bucks are from Rancho Cucamonga, which is the city next to Ontario, not Canada, California. So that's pretty cool. I'm sure they're going to hype it up. So that's cool. Well, gentlemen, we had an interesting back and forth dialogue this weekend. It was, hey, did you guys watch the Adam Project? No, I didn't watch the Adam Project. Then I watched the Adam Project. And then I said I watched the Adam Project. Joe didn't watch the Adam Project. I watched the Adam Project while I was working, so I didn't actually watch the Adam Project, but I lied and said I did. And then Joe cruised over to my house and said, did you see the Adam Project? He said, stop capping. And so we watched the Adam Project again.
Nice.
So let's get into this slightly spoiler-free discussion of the Adam Project. But we're going to let you guys know why we loved it and everything of that nature. If you have Netflix, you'll know if you should watch it or not. X, you were the first one to tell us to jump on the Adam Project. So initial thoughts.
I saw the trailer for it and I'm like, it just came out of the blue. I'm like, what is this? This looks fun. And then, in the trailer, you've got lightsabers, you've got, like flying, ships, you've got blasters, you got robots. I'm like, what is going on here? I was like, dude, I got to watch this. And I totally forgot all about it until one day I'm like, it's on tonight. I'm like, oh my gosh, when I get home, I got to watch this. And they got this little boy, and he does the best Ryan Reynolds impression ever, dude. He's so good. He's got the inflections. He's got the dramatic pause. His movements, everything is perfect.
Interesting you should say that, X. This is actually his first movie ever.
Wow. He did amazing.
Kid did an amazing job. One of the things that Joe and I kept mentioning was like, it was like the kid was doing a Ryan Reynolds impression, but it didn't come across as a Ryan Reynolds impression. It just came across as like a younger version of Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
It was so good.
Yeah, this movie really it brought forth a lot of feelings out of me. Like there was moments where I was like busting up dramatic, just ridiculously. There was moments where I was sad, mad, angry. Teared up a couple times, want to go home and want to go hug my mom, miss my dad, all that. It was just, hug my son too. It's just like, wow. It really, as a parent, as a child, it hits on so many levels, How'd you guys like it?
Yeah, I thought it was dope. Like me and Alan was talking, like the kid's name's Walker, and he didn't annoy me. Not that all kids annoy you, but like they tend to come off like, kind of whiny-ish, right. Like when they're trying to get their point across and stuff like that. But the kid was very mature. And you can tell the way he was acting. I was just thinking, if I went back in the time, I don't think I'm as cool as this kid, right? And it ended up being like, even though like Reynolds looked good at his age, he wasn't as smart or looked good intellectually as he was when he was a kid. And so it seemed like as him getting bullied, he went from being smart to being like a badass, which was he was just kicking ass. And so that's the common joke. Like, how did you get so smart? And the other's like, how did you get so dumb? But the chemistry was really good. At times you forgot that they are Adam. You was thinking that was his little brother or something like that, because it was just clashing back and forth. But the dope thing about it is the way it was going was you didn't really have like questioning about anything about time. Where most movies, when you watch the time travel stuff, you're questioning everything that they do. Oh, that wouldn't happen, or this would happen because of that. It was just purely fun, and you were just watching it for the movie, and it was very entertaining.
I often look at time travel movies as being lazy writing. That's my catchphrase. It's lazy writing. This movie was so simple in the writing that you didn't stop to think like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Even though it was a time travel movie, and time travel movies do tend to be complicated garbage, this just fell in place.
Right.
Yeah. And even though there are, let's say, multiple time jumps, it didn't feel fractured, which was really nice. Interesting thing that Ryan Reynolds said, and you guys kind of alluded to a little bit earlier. He said when they made this movie, they wanted to make a movie that reminded you of the movies that you used to watch as a kid, whether it be like Goonies or The Last Starfighter, or a movie where there's like this kid and they're on an adventure. And because you're near that kid's age, it makes sense, even though it doesn't make sense. That's what we got as adults, because I feel like Ryan Reynolds, as an adult being Adam, it was making sense to him and it was making sense to the kid. And this movie really had that throwback feel, but it wasn't a 1980s, 1990s throwback movie.
Yeah, that's true. It had that really good feeling like that. It was kind of cool too, because I did watch it with my son, and again, he's 6. He just, Daddy, how does he know that? Why does he know that? Is that his dad? I go, no, that's not his dad. Well, who is it? Tell me, Dad. I'm like, we're gonna find out right now, dude. Like, but who? And he was so invested, and it's like I remember that feeling, like, oh, what's gonna happen? Like, you ask everybody, but no, you don't want nobody to tell you. You got to know, right? It was awesome.
Yeah, another thing that was dope that we talked about was there wasn't that many characters that you had to get to know.
Oh.
And so you could really invest in every character's development and where do they go from here. It was cool. Even the villains, like just 2 villains and then dudes in some suits.
It was so basic in the sense of like the guys in the suits were kind of like stormtroopers.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I just assumed that the stormtroopers were robots. Didn't have a
Right.
clue.
Yeah.
And these guys, you never knew if they were like robots, clones, androids, but it didn't matter. Like when they died, you weren't like, oh, or it's just like, oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I told my son too. I'm like, oh yeah, that's just a robot, dude. Don't worry. He's like, whoa, man. That what was it? It was like a staff, and then it was like a lightsaber. It was just, that thing was so awesome. That was in the trailer, so that's not spoiling anything, but.
Nah, that's not spoiling.
Yeah, when you can get Deadpool, Gamora, the Hulk, Elektra, right? Who else? Is there anybody else? Am I missing anybody? You get them all in one movie, it's going to be good.
Yeah, because I think Alan, we watched it. Remember, you caught that Easter egg.
Yes. Here's what I am going to recommend. And X, when you put it up on TikTok, if you could add that Easter egg, I think that'd be pretty cool. Because X actually, X actually screenshotted it and sent it to me, and I was like, I already caught it, X. So there's an awesome Easter egg in the movie, but we're not going to spoil it. But I will say, if you see someone opening up a bin or a tote, look very closely. Let's run through the characters, guys, and the acting job, because one thing I have to say, and you guys might disagree with this. I hope you do because it could create some interesting discussion. Is this Ryan Reynolds' best acting role?
Oh, that's a good question.
I
Let's
think
see.
it's all the same to me, dude.
He's the
You know
same
what I mean?
guy.
He's the same dude, just like Marky Mark in The Rock. No matter what movies they're in, they have the same style. But Ryan Reynolds has that smooth one-liner punch where he's like, he says something funny, but then he does it casual, like he doesn't have his own jokes, kind of thing, and it's flawless. And that kid was doing the same thing, I believe that kid was Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, totally. Here's why I think this was his best acting ever. Because when he had to sit down with another character and deliver the perspective of his younger self, I felt like he removed himself from that smooth one-liner personality that he normally has. When he had to interact with his younger self, he had to display a degree of vulnerability that you normally don't see from a Ryan Reynolds character. Like when I had to sit through that horrible movie, The Hitman's Bodyguard's Wife's Bodyguard, just because Joe wanted to watch Salma Hayek, he was the same old boring character, even when he tried to show some emotional range.
Right.
She's a baddie.
Yeah.
Patty or not, I sat through that garbage for 2 hours just because Joe was like, yeah, this is a good movie. It's not even a good movie, Joe. It's not. You know it's not.
I like Ryan Reynolds, though. I mean, I don't really get tired of his humor and the movies that he's in, to be honest. I mean, I like Red Notice just because he was in it.
Yeah. And to your point, every other movie, exactly the same character. You
Right,
know,
yeah.
that's Deadpool. But I felt like in this movie, he expanded his range a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think,
Yeah.
X-Man?
No, he definitely showed a lot more emotion in this movie. You know, there was sorrow, remorse. He was, anger. That unbridled anger that you hold against somebody for so long, and because you don't want to feel the emotion, so it's just easier to be mad, right? And he did that so well. I mean, he conveyed it so well. He played it perfectly, and he got called out on it by his younger self. The loss that he has, and yeah, it's hard to do without spoiling it. But for the love that he has, for the love to be lost and to come back, it just, I think we saw a little more range. He was definitely this typical, Ryan Reynolds. He was Van Wilder. He was everything he always is, which what we love. And then there was so much more to it. So acting wise, yeah, I could say this is one of his best performances. Was it my favorite Ryan Reynolds movie? It's pretty close. Deadpool still tops it, but that's just because it's so near and dear to my heart. But this movie was amazing, and I'll watch it again. I'll show my kids again. I'll watch it with my wife. She watched it with me too. She enjoyed it, and I didn't get hit for making her watch it. Like I got smacked around after we watched The Hitman's Bodyguard's Wife's Bodyguard, because she was like, "You're not picking the next movie," and I'm like, I'm sorry.
But
I mean,
did you say? But did you say? Oh, but wait, Selma Hayek's the baddie.
Yeah, no. Although she
Yeah.
knows Salma Hayek's on the list. We all got that list. One, three celebrities. Get away with.
Without trying to go through every character, you guys mentioned that the younger version of Ryan Reynolds or young Adam stood out. Were there any other performances in the movie where you guys felt like, wow, this person's doing an excellent job, more than I expected out of him or her?
Zoe was dope because she's a baddie.
Always, yeah.
Their chemistry of fighting was pretty good.
That choreography was amazing. Yeah. Like you get to, it's as if they'd been fighting together for years, and they just roll off each other. One goes high, one goes low, one takes the back, one takes the front. Yeah, that was smooth.
And that's very intelligent writing, because most of the time people wouldn't consider fighting as showing the relationship that two people have built together. So that is not something you'd expect from a Netflix movie, not something you'd expect from a Ryan Reynolds movie. Just excellent writing.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to mention about one other Easter egg to keep an eye out for. The only thing I'm going to say is keep an eye out for neon lighting. And if you think it is what I think it is, please let me know, because somebody else in this chat disagreed.
Yeah, I didn't agree with X. So when you're watching the movie, if you can just drop something in the comments, it's a reference to another time travel movie. I didn't see it at all. I did think that, to X's points, that's really weird framing. Like, why are you framing the scene like this? But I didn't get the same thing that X did out of that scene. So, ladies, gentlemen, and knights, right there down below, go ahead and drop those comments. Let us know what you think. Just let X know he's wrong.
The music was pretty good too, right? And I think, Alan, you were saying that it had James Gunn type of feel, like Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, and I think that's what the music gets you in from the beginning.
Totally. It was nostalgic, but not like our nostalgia. Like, it's not music that, like, we're gonna be like, oh yeah, that was my jam in high school and college.
Yeah.
But it did immediately draw you in, and you're like, oh, I like this song. I heard it before.
Alfie, I know Alan hasn't, but you've seen Iron Eagle?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That was one of the songs that he was playing when he was like flying.
Oh, that makes
so
sense.
I was telling Alan, I was like, yo, dude, that's from Iron Eagle. He's like, what? It was like a knockoff of Top Gun, I guess.
Right.
You know, it's like the GoBots of Top Gun, maybe. But the music was good though.
Yes, definitely. That's so funny. The GoBots. Great callback, sir.
Yeah.
2 points, Joe.
Yeah, I never saw Iron Eagle because I wasn't one of those rich kids who went to the movies every Friday, Joe.
That wasn't rich, dude. That was like, it was what your parents did to have a break from your ass.
Is that why you got a job at a movie theater, so you could watch movies later?
Yes, actually it was. Free movies. At midnight, we could stay and watch the movies before they came out. That is one of the reasons. Well, that's probably the only reason why my first job, or kind of first job, way too much historical information there. But yeah, kind of first job was at a movie theater.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to the Nerd World Order broadcast, you start putting the pieces together, because, you know, we were talking about the popcorn one episode. Now we're talking about why he's working there. It's all coming together.
Yeah, I didn't do it for the free popcorn. That was just something I found out later.
Mark Ruffalo, I think, did a really good job as well. He wasn't the badass dad. He was, you know, the smart dad, and, you know, he had his flaws, and, you know, he had his reasons for having his flaws, of course. I think he did really well in the movie too. So
it's weird. I don't like Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner.
right.
I don't really care for him as an actor, and I don't know why. I just don't like the delivery of his lines. I didn't like him in this movie, but when he delivered his lines, it had impact. Like, I was like, whoa, this is touching.
Right.
So he delivered.
Was it?
You can blame Marvel for that. Because
Is
Marvel
it the nasally voice
him.
that? Yeah, they destroyed him.
Yeah. Well, they destroyed the Hulk. I mean,
That's true.
He's one of the badass characters, and he was just like, my son still to this day is upset about that, because he collects the Hulk and he loves the Hulk, and he was like, he's not represented right.
I still feel like and this is just wishful thinking on my part, because I'm also I wouldn't say I'm a huge Hulk fan, in the sense of it's been my favorite comic book for years. Like, Joe has always hears me, you know, talk about like, oh, Hulk comic book, how good it is. And it is really good. I hope, because there's so many different facets of the Hulk, that they do the Hulk right at some point in Marvel by introducing Maestro Hulk. I feel like the Maestro Hulk is going to be the villain at some point in the Marvel movies, which is why he got all that gamma radiation overload, you know, from the Infinity Gauntlet. That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, what are they going to do? I mean, because they've talked about doing World War Hulk, but it's like they already did all that Hulk stuff that started off that in Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok, you know? So it's like, how are they going to do a World War Hulk? Because it's not going to be like the same storyline. Well, oh, you caused too much trouble, so we're going to send you in space. Oops, fell in a wormhole, landed on this battle planet. Now you're home and you're mad at everybody for sending you off, and you got to kill the Illuminati, right? So maybe that's going to be what the World War Hulk is going to be. Maybe it's going to be Maestro. And, oh my gosh, that'd be so awesome because
At this point, as good of a story as World War Hulk is, if you jump into the Immortal Hulk and now Hulk, where Hulk is running through all of his multiple personalities, it's a much better interpretation of the Hulk. And once the Hulk gets an understanding, hey, they still shot the Hulk off into space. That was some Illuminati BS. They're about to bring the Illuminati into the MCU, supposedly. So World War Hulk is still there. Yeah, okay. They sent him off the battle planet. He came back, but at some point when he gains different levels of intellect, he's going to be like, wait a minute. Y'all shot me off into space. World War Hulk is on.
yeah.
Well, they can't do that, right? Because they don't have the rights to Hulk yet. I think that's the whole reason why they're not doing that. But I don't know if I don't know. Does Marvel own She-Hulk?
I would say no, and here's why. Because it's kind of like if you're part of the X-Men franchise, then you can't be used. If you're part of the Spider-Man franchise, you can't be used. So I would think the same goes for the Hulk, but that's just me taking a guess.
Yeah, but no one I never bought a She-Hulk comic. Have you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, when John
Really?
Byrne was doing her, that was some good stuff.
I believe the phrase that Joe would use is she's a baddie.
But what I was thinking is because what I'm hearing is supposedly Mark the Hulk is supposed to pass the torch to She-Hulk because apparently I guess he can't fight now because of his arm. So that brings me to my next question: does Marvel own She-Hulk? Because if they do that, then you can do because you're doing your own She-Hulk miniseries, right?
Mhm.
But you can also use the Hulk because that's the only time you can use the Hulk. He cannot be by himself.
Yeah, they would have to own her because I mean, if they don't, I mean, yeah, like all the property that goes with like Fantastic Four or Spider-Man and X-Men, that all went with that. But same with the Hulk. I mean, maybe not necessarily the Hulk because maybe it was just the Hulk. They wanted like, we don't want that She-Hulk. We don't want Prometheus. We don't want any
Doc
Rick
Samson.
Jones, Doc
Yeah.
Samson, right?
Mhm.
You guys, we just want the Hulk, and maybe that's the deal they made because otherwise She-Hulk wouldn't be happening on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Excellent.
And
point.
you could do a World War Hulk or a Maestro with the She-Hulk because you own the She-Hulk.
Well, as long as he's the villain, then they can use him. Like he can't have his own movie, but
Right.
if he's the villain in an Avengers movie, whether it be Maestro Hulk, World War Hulk, they can do it. What would be insane, and you guys have thought of this and it's badass, is what if he started off as World War Hulk, kind of like in an Infinity War thing here. World War Hulk, he starts fighting, the Hulk constantly evolves, and at some point during World War Hulk, he turns into Maestro Hulk. That would be sick.
He just needs to grow a beard and go white. So
That's right.
we're going to solve
Yeah.
this problem. We're going to send them to the future so they have to deal with him. And then all of a sudden he's back for the future, Marty, and he's all maestroed out.
Well, I mean, they've already done their time travel thing. There's, who knows where they're going. I love the Hulk. I love what they're doing with his writing. Immortal Hulk. Now it's the Hulk, and I need to get caught up on that. By the way, I read issue 1 of the new Hulk series. It's just crazy because that's what they're doing basically now. They're like, we went into this dimension, and there's this Hulk in this dimension, but they need Bruce Banner to basically fix everything because this Hulk is corrupt. So they could totally do that. And I know that's a little bit too much multiverse going on, but they could do it.
I think the last Hulk comic I ever read was from Peter David.
Yeah, dude. Peter David's just an awesome writer. Peter David actually wrote the new Maestro Hulk. He wrote the original Maestro Hulk, and they let him. Well, I paid him, but he did the new Maestro Hulk, so that's cool.
I think that ship has sailed for right now.
Yeah,
I think they're going to do what Kang, and they're doing Secret Wars. I think that although Secret Wars they could have a Maestro Hulk in there. That's the way to bring him in. But I think that's have sailed, man. I think that's just what I think.
I do want to mention when I was listing all the Hulk people that are part of his world, I said Prometheus. I meant Pantheon. Is it Pantheon? Yeah, Pantheon with Hector
Pantheon.
and Pantheon. That's what it was.
Yes.
So the reason why I know about that so well is because they crossed over with X Factor, and I was like, "Ooh, what's this?" And then I started picking up his the left and right, and then and then that was what was that artist Dale Keown? Man, that guy did the Hulk good.
Yeah. Would you want to see a sequel of the Adam Project?
Oh, totally. I totally would. I think that they could go quite a bit with this. I mean, they don't have to even do time hops back and forth because we could see what's just going on in the future. We could see how he grows up. It could be a multi-decade movie. Just to show you like what happened after, because they did show some stuff that happened after, right? Like all movies do. That's another callback to the 80s right there, where it's like so and so went on to do this and so went on to do that. I always loved that. They need to do that more. But rather than just a picture of somebody in wards, they show you the stuff. So I really think that there's a place for it, and I could definitely see them doing it. But I could see them doing this as a standalone thing and making it this, this like one-hit wonder cult, not cult, what is it? Cult classic, not cult podcast, cult classic. It's like, oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue now. Wait, I'm gonna try one more thing. World War Hulk. Okay, go ahead.
Joe, sequel. What do you think?
I'm okay with it not having a sequel because it ended perfect, and you could end it like I said, you could end it right there. Now, because it's doing well, I can see them doing a sequel. So there's different ways you could do that. You could do a multiverse. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways they could do that. But if they do that, would it cheapen the movie? Is the question.
Yeah.
Joe, multiverse. You watch too many movies, bro.
Yeah.
I do not want to see a sequel. I love this movie. Like, I was so surprised by it. Just love this movie. Go out and watch it right now. But I feel like it would have the Matrix effect. First Matrix is great. Second Matrix was like, well, let's see what we can do here. Let's see if we can continue this story. And as much as I love the Matrix trilogy and the Matrix is like the greatest movie ever made, it just doesn't have that same feel and cohesiveness. So I would not want to see a sequel. As you guys were talking, though, I was like, Adam Project TV show? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you could continue the story of just, Ryan Reynolds and Lauren. You could do it that way.
Yeah.
Where do they go from at the end of the? I would be cool with that movie if it was just those two. But the kid was so good. The kid, if they're gonna make another one, the kid deserves to be in there because he was so good.
It's interesting. That's what I would want to see. They could do like almost like the Wonder Years, which where like you have this one guy narrating when I was a kid, this happened and blah blah blah. Then they go into the show and it's the kid.
Yeah,
you could kind of do the Wonder Years, but with the Adam Project,
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd much rather see the kid, but at the same time, I think it would be cool, kind of like pulling a little bit from what Joe said. It's like, okay, so you have the husband and wife, they're talking about whatever. She asks him a question. He's like, and one time my dad had a soda can. And then, they go into whatever. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. A series that does make sense. That would work really well because it could just be him. It could be a lot more affordable because they don't have to pay Ryan Reynolds,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing we don't need is another never-ending story 2 or,
What final thoughts do you guys have on the Adam Project?
I can't recommend it enough. You guys get out there, pull up your Netflix, watch it again, watch it with friends, watch it with family. Have a box of tissue just in case. Yeah, it's good. It's definitely a classic.
Until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, I am NWO.
We are NWO.
Nerds Redefine. Hey, yo. What's up, Chico?